Hey, welcome back to the ultimate guide for data engineering using AI. This is the second episode of the three-part series. If you didn't watch the first episode, go watch that. We're basically just ingesting data from the raw data sources into S3 bucket files. And on this episode, we're going to do data warehousing transformations. We're going to use the dbt models, we're going to use the BigQuery tables, we're going to also leverage the GitHub Actions and also Terraform. So follow along to learn how I did it. This is basically just me and Claude Code, just prompting and chatting until we iterate to the final result. And so let's build it. So here's kind of what you need for this episode. Like I mentioned on the first episode, this is more of an enterprise solution. This is what is mainly used on companies. So it's kind of a portfolio worthy to have on your CV, since every company with data has this kind of infrastructure, and this is what you're going to need. You're going to need a Google account, cloud account with billing accounts. You can use kind of the free trials for this project. If not, this is kind of very cheap to run on your own. Like I think I spent like €1 on this project. You also have to have the GCP project with BigQuery API enabled and a service account. If you don't have, or if you never created a service account, you can also ask Claude Code to do it. Just enter your authentication using gcloud, and automatically Claude Code can run it for you. The second thing we're going to need is a GitHub account for this. We're going to use the GitHub Actions to run all of our workflows. And as a local tooling, a lot of the things are going to be built in Python. The Terraform is also going to be used, and the ingestion layer from the episode 1 already running, of course. So all of the S3 data must be there for this to work. So let me walk through what we're building on this episode. So the ingestion layer from episode 1 is our foundation. All of the raw data needs to live on the S3 buckets. And let me explain how kind of BigQuery connects to S3. This is where kind of the design from episode 1 pays off, because we stored everything as a Parquet file with Hive style partition, the year, month, and day. BigQuery can read it directly via external tables without copying or moving the data. So it kind of defines the table just once. Put into the S3 path, and BigQuery handles everything else. So it reads only the partitions that match your queries date filter, which is exactly why we structure the S3 paths that way. So this pattern, keeping raw data in object storage and only paying for compute at query time, is what the kind of the modern stack is built on. We're not locked into one warehouse, and you're not paying for the idle compute to host the raw layer. So kind of the 3 layers, each with a job that we're building with dbt. Like dbt is amazing at doing this, and we're going to follow the conventions for it. So the staging, the intermediate, and the marts. Kind of the staging is everything's kind of clean and renamed. The raw columns, we have the views only, so no storage costs in BigQuery. Then we have the intermediate stage, where we join and aggregate across different sources. Incremental with a 3-day look back to catch late arriving data from Mixpanel events, for example, or delaying Stripe webhooks. And on the second layer, we're going to have the marts. So this is a more business face tables. This is the tables where your BI tool is going to query directly. These are the only tables that get materialized as a full BigQuery table. So yeah, dbt kind of solves all of that. Like your transformation logic lives as versioned SQL files in Git. dbt knows the full dependency on it, like which data is going to need to build that actual table. So you don't have the problem of understanding kind of the order of running your queries, because dbt stores that information correctly. So why GitHub Actions for continuous integration and continuous development? So without continuous integration, every SQL change you push goes straight to production. If you broke a model, you find out when someone else's dashboard is wrong, not before. GitHub Actions runs dbt compile and a slim test on every pull request, so a broken model is caught before it merges to main. For Terraform, it runs Terraform plan and posts the output as a PR comment. You see exactly what the infrastructure is changing before you approve it. It's already where your code lives, so there's no extra tooling to set that up. So kind of why the Terraform is kind of chosen here. So your S3 buckets, IAM roles, and lifecycle policies are defined as code. If you need to recreate the environment, new AWS account, disaster recovery, a staging environment, you run one command. So without Terraform, you create resources by clicking in the AWS console. Manual, very undocumented, impossible to audit, and impossible to kind of replicate in the future. With Terraform, the IAM least privilege policies are reviewed on every PR, just like application code. Security decisions are visible and tracked. And the last of these is the Prometheus. You need something to know when something breaks before your users do. dbt runs and finishes, but did it process the right number of rows? Did it test pass? How long did it the fact monthly recurring revenue take compared to yesterday? So Prometheus gives you metrics on every model run, with alerts firing to Slack or PagerDuty or whenever a DAG fails. dbt doesn't schedule itself, so it runs when you tell it to. Airflow is the scheduler. We already have Airflow running from episode 1 for ingestion, so we reuse the same infrastructure, one orchestration tool, one UI, one alerting setup, one retry configuration for the entire pipeline. So let's open VS Code again and the Claude Code extension, and just put there the prompt is basically just telling to create a dbt project for a data warehouse, and you call it whatever you want. The target is BigQuery. You have 3 model layers: the staging, which are views; the intermediates, which are incremental merge; the marts, which are incremental merge as well, but tables as well. And the sources that I'm choosing, as you saw on the first episode, are Stripe, HubSpot, and Mixpanel. So raw data landed on BigQuery from S3, the external tables. Here you're just giving context, honestly, to a new chat, and just give what it needs to be created. Okay, so after the first iteration with it, like the first prompt, I already can see that it finalized it with the dbt models. It also has already the DAGs with the full refresh and the incremental parts. I can also see the workflows, the Airflow and the Terraform. I don't see kind of anything starting or anything on Git. So let me ask to send to Git and just also start the DAGs. So I didn't want to go into the hurdle of going to BigQuery, create a service account, and understand which roles I should give for this to work. So I can ask just Claude, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm asking Claude to put the data in BigQuery and just authenticate using the gcloud CLI. I've used this before and I've showed here how you can do that as well. But basically, the only thing that you need is just install the gcloud CLI. Actually, I think Claude Code can also do that for you. But essentially, I'm just giving that instruction, and as you can see, like it opened a new browser just for us to authenticate and give permissions to. Cool, and after a brief while, I would say, everything's on Git. I can see the DAGs, not the DAGs, sorry, the workflows being created, like the README is really good. It explains how the warehouse layer was built. Also has kind of the alert system and monitoring using Prometheus and Grafana and things like that. The reference of the DBT, the marts, intermediate staging, also how the incrementals is working, how to run locally. Has everything that I would look for on a README page on Git. So cool. The workflows are also there. 3 workflows. Nice. Okay, so I didn't see anything being written on BigQuery or the workflows just starting. So here I'm just asking if you can just start the BigQuery transfer and run the dbt full refresh since I don't have any data, and basically just wait again for the results. In the meantime, I'm just checking my credit usage. It didn't spend a lot, like 31% for this big project, which is cool. Usually, like in the beginning of my journey with Claude, like one prompt could kill the entire session in just a few minutes in 1 or 2 prompts. So I'm glad that I kind of figure out later that you can use skills to give more instructions and things like that and not iterate as much. Also, one quick tip is that I ask ChatGPT the exact prompt I should give with a lot of instructions, and that's also made me spend way less credit usage. Cool. Everything's built on the BigQuery side. I can see all of the raw data. I can see all of the kind of the marts there, staging the intermediate that was run from dbt for all of the sources. So this looks really promising. So now I really want to see like the rest of the flow. Like I wanted to understand, okay, where is the airflow with the DAGs that run the whole pipeline? And essentially, I don't know if you're thinking, oh, why do we need GitHub Actions and also the airflow DAGs? So the GitHub Actions here are more to every time that you do a push, you understand if there's kind of an error beforehand. It goes into the production, like Airflow will only run into production mode, and GitHub Actions is more when you do push or a pull request or something like that, and you are able to see beforehand if it broke and have time to fix it before it goes to production. So yeah, they essentially can manage to do the same things, but here's kind of the 2 ways of looking at it as a full project. So now I'm hitting an error on Terraform. It's basically just the AWS IAM user that has insufficient insufficient roles. So I gave the role that it needed. If you work with this, it's pretty straightforward. Just go into the IAM user and give the right permission. And that's done. Like all of the workflows I've started, I can see all of the data there. We have the Airflow workflow, we have the dbt, and we have the Terraform, all of them working on the GitHub Actions. We also have the Terraform. Now let's just see the alerting and monitoring of this project. Cool. So basically, this is another thing that he completely forgot to do. He basically just wrote the code for Prometheus integration, but it didn't run anything. It didn't put in production, I would say. So I had to ask him, okay, locate this because I can't understand what is going on. And he basically, this is where he forced himself to do it. So he gave me a couple of local hosts to check. And now I can see every time that a DAG runs, I can see the data. If it fails, how many hours, like the schedule, like everything. So this is really good to monitoring your health on the pipelines. So before you call this entire project done, or at least the episode 2 done, don't go away and trust completely on what AI just did for you. These are my recommended checks that I do, and not just with AI, with any project that was done by any developer, even me. I look at these things. So I want to check if the incremental is actually working. I've seen, unfortunately, in production, things like a day goes by and it didn't increment properly on the data, or sometimes it misses data from 2 previous days. So the way to kind of look back at this, or to test if this looks good, is just insert a row with updated at, because it's the column that it looks for the incremental part. And just do like 2 days ago into the source data, since we are looking back 3 days, and run the incremental DAG just to see if that actually catch that, or if you're seeing any bug whatsoever. The second part is the freshness. So run the dbt source freshness. This checks when each source was last updated against the freshness. And this is in settings in source.yaml file. And if Airflow didn't run, this will fail and tell you which source is stale. That's your early warning before downstream tables go stale. And then you can also check if you don't have any credentials. Again, like in episode 1, make sure that all of your credentials are not pushed to Git. You can also see if the GitHub repository settings has your secrets. This is not a really good practice because, yeah, it stores what it needs. I can also show you the best practice for this part. But yeah, make sure at the initial project that you don't commit any secret whatsoever. That's essentially it. All of the checks. If it goes green, you're good to go. So that's episode 2, guys. Full transformation layer on top of the ingestion pipeline that we did on the previous one. On the next one, you're going to be able to define this into a business logic and create all of the BI tools. I'm going to present to you like a real case scenario where a stakeholder just asks for like the random and most thing that it can think of, and I will walk you through on how to get all of the sources together to make sure that you're delivering a really good dashboard to answer his own questions. So right now you already have your raw data, you also have the transform data, everything cleaned, everything perfectly, everything running on a schedule. Every person on your team can look up on the BigQuery tables for that data, and that's essentially it. Everything done with AI. This took me a couple of hours, and this could take weeks and months to sometimes deliver this. This is not the hardest part of a full pipeline. Like, the code is not the hardest part. It's definitely kind of the checks that I mentioned. It's like a good practice to never lose those in your own mind. So yeah, full code is in the description. Like, subscribe if you don't want to miss episode 2. Bye.